It is my absolute pleasure to present Christine Lagarde, whom I call ma chérie sœur, or darling sister, with the Woodrow Wilson Public Service Award for her inspirational leadership at the European Central Bank and IMF and exhaustive efforts to right our financial ship in chaotic waters. Merci mille fois aussi for your unflagging support of the Wilson Center and me, and for showing girls and women and men that brains, grace, kindness, and humanity can be part of the same person. Here is this award, chérie, and when I see you next, I will hand it to you. I'm so sorry you're not here in person. But it is now a delight to chat with you for a moment about our friendship, the magnificent career you've led and are still leading, and what tops your agenda among so many pressing global issues. So first, our friendship. In 2011, I joined the Wilson Center, and you came to Washington to manage the IMF. We met at an IMF lunch that you hosted, and I always say that you had me at hello. We became partners, co-conspirators, and dear friends, and have enjoyed a magnificent decade together. Unfortunately, for almost a year, we've gone long distance and lived on different continents. We've only managed to see each other once in Paris last December. And though we grew up across the Atlantic from each other, our friendship is based on our similar backgrounds. We are both lawyers, similar energy, and similar motivation to work, raise families, and contribute to a better world. So let me ask you, what message do you have for young people, in particular young women, who are growing up in much more difficult times than we did, with the pandemic, economic challenge, climate change, and serious threats to democratic governance?
Oh, Jane, can I preface that with a huge thank you to you as my chérie sœur, my friend, and to all those who decided that it was the right thing to do to give me this award. But I'm just thrilled to be with you. It's hard to be through screens because I want to hug you and I want to hold you in my arms dearly, and we could have a little cry or a little laugh as we wish and as we did always. So thank you very much to you for who you are and what you do. So to the girls, and we both care about the girls. I would say first of all, you are the future of this world. A fantastic poet, Louis Aragon, said that la femme est l'avenir de l'homme, and it has multiple and very deep meanings. But I would say that women are the future of the world. I would also say to young girls, particularly those that have the benefit of education, of a way to make a difference in the world, I would say dare the difference. Do not try to be like everybody else. Do not try to imitate the boys. Do not set standards that are going to be theirs and not yours. And I think it's vitally important to actually have that confidence that of course we are different. And of course we bring different attributes and talent and energy, but we have to let that be. So that's what I would say. You are the future, they're the difference, get on with it.
And you've always lived that way, and I admire so much, and so does the whole world, the way you carry off being a feminine woman and being an extremely competent professional. So let me ask you about that. You've had two of the biggest banking jobs on the planet, which follow your leadership of a huge international law firm and as finance minister of France. Tell us about your time at the IMF and since last November in a very difficult post at the European Central Bank. What are the common and different challenges of each job?
Both jobs were very challenging. when I joined the IMF, I pretty much knew that the institution was facing a tough time because it had just gone through the trauma of a managing director who had been put in jail and who had to step down for all the reasons that we remember. But what I didn't know is that almost instantly we were going to hit the big European sovereign debt crisis. And we were going to be on this roller coaster saga of trying to help one country after the other, going through this sort of aftermath of the 2008-2009 crisis. So it was a combination of bringing people together, making sure that we could leverage all the potential and all the energy and all the brain power, focusing on Europe at that time, because that's where the big crisis was. But I was also determined to change the institution and to bring about concerns that had not surfaced. They were there because people really eventually endorsed my proposals, but I wanted the institution to focus on inequality, and particularly the gender inequality. I wanted the institution to focus on climate change and how it mattered for the economy. And, you know, it took a while. And I remember the early days when the board would say, well, this is not really macro-critical. Why would we care about climate change? And inequality, well, the distributional aspect of fiscal policy, oh, not necessarily a core issue. So, in a way, without really having a rolled out strategy, I redirected a little bit and changed tack a bit so that we could have a much more comprehensive approach to some of the problems that countries were facing. Now, at the ECB, there was no such management turmoil and difficulty, and Mario Draghi, who was my predecessor, left an institution that was really in good shape and delivering on its mission. But, you know, 3 months in the job, COVID-19 hit, and we had to instantly get into battle, make sure that everybody was on deck and ready to help, rolled our sleeves and had to invent new instruments and new responses to make sure that, you know, money was flowing, that enterprises had access to credit, that those that were desperate for cash would get cash, that those who were desperate for dollars would get dollars, that the risk of fragmentation would be addressed, that markets would stabilize. And we didn't have much time, so we really had to scramble and spend nights and, again, rolled up our sleeves and get the job done as teams. So, yeah, it was challenging in both institutions, and I'm really happy now that it has stabilized a bit here at the European Central Bank, that we can embark on the strategy review journey that had not taken place in the last 17 years. So that's my new challenge.
Well, you're up to it. And let me just ask a final question about climate, because as we meet, the fires are burning on the west coast of the United States. The hurricanes are howling on the southern coast of the United States. And climate and drought and climate refugees are a problem all over the world. You were the first, I think, at the IMF and certainly at the ECB to talk about climate. Will there be room on this new agenda, given the fact that COVID is not over and there certainly will be a world recession? Will there be room to do something about climate?
You bet there will be room, absolutely. It will be, as I said, I think it is such a critical issue that in any position we are, and whatever our jobs and our mission and our mandate, we have to ask ourselves the question, what can we do? And it is going to be one of the 10 key topics that will be addressed. There's a whole working group that has been assembled here at the ECB to work on those issues. So count on me. It's not vanishing on my agenda.
Sherry Sir, for my life, all my life, I will count on you. And to conclude, At your formal IMF farewell event last September, you stunned the audience with this. It is your anthem, and it is such a poignant memory for all of us who were there.